Hi everyone, this is Legacy School Year 5 Comprehension Lesson 18 Black Beauty. This is going to be an extract from a famous English novel written by Anna Sewell. The title is Black Beauty, an autobiography of a horse, so you can understand that the narrator is going to be the horse, Black Beauty. This was the first novel that had a non-human narrator. This book was published in 1877. She died a few months later on. It's a very famous novel that teaches children and everyone kindness to animals, especially horses, as Anna Sewell. When she was a child, she hurt her foot and she had to go to places. Quite often she used horse-drawn carriages, and she loved horses very much. She saw how sometimes people mistreat animals, and she wrote this book to teach children to be, and people, to be kinder to animals. One day when John and I had been out on some business of our master's and were returning gently on a long straight road, at some distance we saw a boy trying to leap a pony over a gate. The pony would not take the leap, and the boy cut him with the whip, but he only turned off on one side. He whipped him again, but the pony turned off on the other side. So we understand that Black Beauty is telling us about a story that they saw riding outside. John was the rider of Black Beauty, and they saw a boy trying to leap to make a pony jump over a gate, and then he whipped him, he bit him, he beat the pony. You can see the word whip and whipped. First it's used as a noun and then it's used as a verb. Then the boy got off and gave him a hard thrashing, a hard beating, hitting, and knocked him about the head. Then he got up again and tried to make him leap the gate, kicking him all the time shamefully, but still the pony refused. When we were nearly at the spot, the pony put down his head and threw up his heels and sent the boy neatly over into a broad, quickset hedge, and with the rein dangling from his head, he set off home at a full gallop. John laughed out quite loud. "Served him right," he said. So Black Beauty describes how the boy gave the horse a thrashing, gave him a beating. Then the horse tipped him, threw him to the hedge. The quickset hedge is a line of bushes that grows alongside a road, for example, as a fence. It could be used as well on farms, in the countryside. And the rein is the strap that we hold and guide the horse with. So with the rein dangling, the horse ran home with a full gallop. Gallop is the way a horse runs. The expression "served him right" means he deserved it, said John, the rider of Black Beauty. Oh, cried the boy as he struggled about among the thorns. "I say, come and help me out." "Thank you," said John. "I think you are quite in the right place, and maybe a little scratching will teach you not to leap a pony over a gate that is too high for him." And so with that, John rode off. "It may be," said he to himself, "that young fellow is a liar as well as a cruel one. He'll just go home by Farmer Bushby's Beauty, and then if anybody wants to know, you and I can tell him, you see." So John doesn't want to help the boy. He thinks that the boy deserves what he got. Okay, a little scratching and pulling out the thorns from his backside will teach him not to make a pony try to do something that it cannot do. And then John speaks to the boy first, and then John speaks to himself and Black Beauty, that this boy, the Farmer Bushby's son, is a liar and a cruel person. A cruel person wants to hurt other people or animals. And he says to Black Beauty, we will tell Farmer Bushby what we saw. So we turned off to the right and soon came up to the stackyard. Stackyard is a yard where farmers keep old, dry grass, hay, straw, and so on. And within sight of the house, the farmer was hurrying out into the road, and his wife was standing at the gate, looking very frightened. "Have you seen my boy?" said Mr. Bushby as we came up. "He went out an hour ago on my black pony, and the creature is just come back without a rider." "I should think, sir," said John, "he had better be without a rider unless he can be ridden properly." "What do you mean?" said the farmer. So John and Black Beauty ride to Farmer Bushby's farm, and they meet him and the wife, and they tell him they saw him being worried about his son because the pony came back without his son. And John says, "Well, yes, the pony came back without the rider because the rider that was on the pony did not know how to ride." And the farmer doesn't understand what he means. "Well, sir, I saw your son whipping and kicking and knocking that good little pony about shamefully because he would not leap a gate that was too high for him. The pony behaved well, sir, and showed no vice, but at last he just threw up his heels and tipped the young gentleman into the thorn hedge." So John explains to the father what he saw, that his son was cruel to the animal, and the animal showed no vice. It did not show any violence. The animal didn't do anything bad, but couldn't stand it anymore, and then the boy fell into the hedge. Tipped to throw. Tipped means he threw him into the hedge. "He wanted me to help him out, but I hope you will excuse me, sir. I did not feel inclined to do so." He says, "I didn't want to help your son. There's no bones broken, sir. He will only get a few scratches. I love horses, and it riles me to see them badly used." John says it makes him feel very bad and very sad when he sees somebody misusing a horse. It is a bad plan to aggravate an animal till he uses his heels. The first time is not always the last. So he says that to aggravate an animal, to make an animal suffer, is not nice. Okay? An animal will become only aggressive if somebody treats an animal like that. During this time, the mother began to cry, "Oh, my poor Bill, I must go and meet him. He must be hurt." "You had better go into the house, wife," said the farmer. "Bill wants a lesson about this, and I must see that he gets it. This is not the first time, nor the second, that he has ill-used that pony, and I shall stop it. I am much obliged to you, Manly. Good evening." So the mother is very worried. The father is the opposite. He wants to teach his son a lesson because this was not the first time that Bill has been ill-using or mistreating the pony, and he wants him to stop it. The expression "I am much obliged to you" means thank you very much. I am grateful to you that you told me the truth. So we went on, John chuckling, laughing, giggling all the way home. Then he told James about it, who laughed and said, James is his son, "Serve him right. I knew that boy at school. He took great airs on himself because he was a farmer's son." So he was very proud of himself because he was rich. Farmers used to be richer at that time. He used to swagger about, walk about proudly and bully the little boys. Of course, we elder ones would not have any of that nonsense, and let him know that in the school and the playground, farmers' sons and laborers' sons were all alike. So James says that he knows this boy. He's very cruel and a bully at school with the younger boys. But we, says James, so James is an older boy, we older boys made him know that just because he's a farmer, he's a rich boy, farmers' sons and the workers, laborers' sons, they are all equal in the playground. I well remember one day, just before afternoon school, I found him at the large window catching flies and pulling off their wings. He did not see me, and I gave him a box on the ears that laid him sprawling on the floor. Well, angry as I was almost frightened. He roared and bellowed in such a style So James tells his father the story, and also Black Beauty can hear it, that once he found Bill pulling out wings of flies, and then he gave him a box. He punched him on the ears, and then he sprawled on the floor. He was lying on the floor. James was very angry, but it made him almost frightened, the way Bill was roaring, screaming, and bellowing. Bellow is very sharp, very loud shouting. The boys rushed in from the playground, and the master ran in from the road to see who was being murdered, so everybody could hear the shouting, and they came running, who's hurt. Of course, I said fair and square. This expression means I said it honestly. Of course, I said it fair and square at once, what I had done and why. Then I showed the master the flies, some crushed and some crawling about helpless, and I showed him the wings on the windowsill. This is the part of the window from outside where you can put, sometimes people decorate their windows with flower pots, for example. I never saw him so angry before, but as Bill was still howling and whining, screaming from pain, moaning, and howling like a wolf, making a sound like a wolf, like the coward he was, he did not give him any more punishment of that kind, but set him up on a stool for the rest of the afternoon and said that he should not go out to play for that week. So this was his punishment for being cruel. Then he, James means the teacher, then he talked to all the boys very seriously about cruelty and said how hard-hearted and cowardly it was to hurt the weak and the helpless. But what stuck in my mind was this, he said, that cruelty was the devil's own trademark. And if we saw anyone who took pleasure in cruelty, we might know who he belonged to. For the devil was the murderer from the beginning and the tormentor to the end. On the one hand, where we saw people who loved their neighbors and were kind to man and beast, we might know that was God's mark. So the teacher gave a speech to the boys, and he told them that people who are cruel, they are not following God, they are following the devil. They are following Shaitan, okay? Satan in another English word. Okay, so that's the devil's own trademark. When you see cruelty, when you see bad behavior, that is the devil's mark. Okay? And at the same time, on the opposite way, if somebody is kind, okay, and does not torment others, but helps, he's kind to man and beast, kind to man and animal as well. That is God's mark. So he's following God's instructions. Okay, so he's following the path of God. And then now John speaks. Your master never taught you a truer thing, said John. There is no religion without love. And people may talk as much as they like about their religion, but if it does not teach them to be good and kind to man and beast, it is all a sham. All a sham, James. And it won't stand when things come to be turned inside out. So John speaks to James now. Yes, your teacher was right. Okay, we cannot be following religion if we don't love other people and other animals, all creatures of God. Okay, people may talk as much as they like about their religion. It doesn't matter if they talk about kindness or being good, but if they are actually not good, they just talk about it, and that is a sham, that is fake, it's not true. And John says it won't stand when things come to be turned inside out. When judgment day comes, okay, Christianity and Islam also believes that at the end of times, judgment day comes and people will be judged whether they were good or they were bad. Okay, so when things come to be turned inside out, okay, when things will be judged, then God will know who was good and who was bad. All right, so let's take a look at some of the vocabulary. Whip, yeah, to beat, leap, to jump. Give someone a thrashing is to beat somebody. Gallop, run with the horse. Cruel is to cause pain, and cruelty is the noun. Bellow is to shout. Ill use is to mistreat. Torment is to cause somebody suffering, and a tormentor, as you see, O-R, this is the noun, the person who does the torment. Coward is a noun, the person who has no courage. Cowardice is what he has. This is also a noun. And cowardly is an adjective. Okay, so he's a cowardly boy. It's not an adverb. Chuckle is to giggle. Aggravate is to make someone suffer. Rile is to feel bad about something. And sham means not to fake. I am much obliged to you. I am very grateful. Thank you. I am thankful. Served him right. He deserved it. I said it fair and square. I said it honestly. And he took great airs on himself. He was very proud about himself. All right, let's take a look at extension work. Do you think James deserves a consequence for beating up Bill? Express, you can agree or you can disagree, but explain why. Okay, so I think James deserves a consequence for beating up Bill because, or I don't think he deserves. Do you agree with Bill's punishment? He was set up on a stool and play was taken away from him for the rest of the week. Do you agree with this? Okay, is it good enough? And how is the teacher using Bill's mistake? So you understand that he uses it to make a speech. Do you think it is a good idea? Why? The last question. Unfortunately, humans are being unkind to animals in the modern world in many ways. What do people do to animals that is cruel? How do people use animals nowadays that is considered unkind? All right? Please don't judge. You don't have to judge whether they are doing the right or they are doing wrong. All you need to do is to explain how you feel, what people do bad about the animals. How do we people treat animals badly? You don't have to say what they should do. Explain how you feel about humans mistreating animals. Think about how we use them in laboratories, okay? Think about the boys in the street who are hitting animals with sticks and throwing stones at them. Sometimes, unfortunately, we hunt animals just for fun. Some people do that. Okay, so think about why do we mistreat animals. Some animals, we can't eat them, but we use their skin or their fur. So think about in what ways do people mistreat animals. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.